Hi, it's me and this is my channel. And today we are going to uncover some ancient hearths. Most kids learn about fire when they're still in diapers. We don't really teach adults anything new here. But did you know that for a very long time before our species had mastered the art of making fire, humans were still cooking up delicious meals by throwing things on hot rocks? They just hadn't quite figured out how to make those things on fire yet. Archaeologists have uncovered more than one place where people would collect stones, heat them up and use them to cook. These sites include a rock shelter in South Africa, an open-air site in Israel, and a place in what is now Jordan where people lived around 12,000 years ago, during the late Pleistocene epoch. It seems like humans weren't the only ones who thought of heating rocks to cook with, because the bones of animals like baboons, antelopes, and wild dogs have also been found charred at these sites, suggesting that they were cooked in a similar way. Scientists think that cooking meat this way may have been a common practice throughout much of Africa. It could have been as simple as having enough brainpower to realize that heated rocks equal yummy food. Each of these three sites shows evidence that people were living there seasonally, not year-round. And experts say the practice of using heated rocks to cook could have appeared independently multiple times as humans spread across Africa and encountered this cooking method. So far, though, the exact origins of the practice remain a mystery. Humans aren't the only ones who can cook with hot rocks. In northern India, gibbons have been observed collecting stones and dropping them from heights to crack open nuts. Or maybe it doesn't take too much brain power after all. At any rate, using hot rocks to cook was likely an important adaptation that helped early humans survive and thrive. But eventually, humans across the world discovered something even better: fire. So join us as we travel to different parts of the world to explore some incredible archaeological discoveries that have taught us more about how and why our ancestors used fire and its role in human history. In 1967, archaeologist Louis Binford was excavating the site of the Gibbistoup cave in what is now Tanzania when he came across a layer of burned rocks and ash at the bottom of the cave. To his surprise, this was the first clear evidence of fire ever found in Tanzania and the oldest evidence of fire at that time in all of Africa. Since then, scientists have found other evidence of fire dating back to as early as 1 million years ago. For instance, in 2015, a study published in the Journal of Human Evolution reported that a group of researchers had discovered a hearth made of burnt rocks at the Kubi Forest site in Kenya. This hearth dated back to 0.4 million years, making it the oldest clear evidence of fire use ever found in Africa. However, some scientists have argued that this wasn't a fireplace made by hominins but rather a natural occurrence. Other scientists disagree, saying that hominins likely started the fire based on the fact that the rocks were burnt in different layers, indicating that they were put there intentionally. Many scientists believe that the ability to use fire was a crucial factor in the survival and evolution of our species. According to National Geographic, early humans likely started using fire regularly between 1.5 and 1 million years ago. Having access to fire helped early humans keep warm, ward off predators, and cook their food. Some experts even think that eating cooked food may have played a role in the development of the human brain. But exactly when hominins began using fire and how they learned to use it remains unknown. The earliest widely accepted evidence of fire use comes from the Wonderwerk cave in South Africa. Here, traces of burnt bone, wood ash, and burnt animal bones suggest that our ancestors may have used fire as early as 1.8 million years ago. But this evidence is somewhat ambiguous. In 2020, archaeologists announced that they had found evidence of 2 fireplaces at the site of the Box Cave in South Africa. These fireplaces date back 1.7 million years, which makes them the oldest undisputed evidence of fire use ever found. Unfortunately, scientists haven't been able to figure out who used the fire. The 2 most likely candidates are Homo erectus and the extinct species Homo habilis. These 2 species lived in the same region of Africa at the same time, so it's hard to tell which one was responsible for starting the fires, and the difference between them isn't always clear-cut. There's even debate over whether or not H. habilis should be classified as its own species at all. As far as we know, the first Homo erectus emerged in Africa about 2 million years ago, and they were the first hominins to migrate out of Africa and spread through Asia and Europe. Meanwhile, H. habilis lived in Africa only and was smaller, had a bigger brain, and used stone tools. Both species disappeared from the fossil record about 1.5 million years ago. But the discovery of these fireplaces suggests that at least one of these 2 species understood how to start fires. Scientists think that being able to use fire helped H. erectus survive in a variety of environments and eventually migrate out of Africa. However, the tradition of using fire didn't end there. Around 300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged in Africa. Unlike our extinct cousins, such as the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, Homo sapiens have managed to make it to every part of the world. And unlike earlier hominins, modern humans actively manage the fires they start, meaning that we don't just toss a few logs on a fire and let nature take its course. Instead, we use tools to maintain our fires. We build fireplaces, chimneys, and kilns, and use bellows and blowtorches to increase airflow and raise temperatures. Many cultures around the world have stories and myths explaining how fire was brought to humans. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was the titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans. In Hindu mythology, the god Agni is the first god to be invoked in every ritual and prayer, because he is the god of fire and represents sacrifice, purification, and enlightenment. And according to Native American folklore, the story of how humans got fire varies depending on the tribe. In one version, a great flood destroys the world and only one man and woman survive. When they emerge from the mountains after the flood, they are cold and scared. But soon they see a beautiful woman tending to a fire. She tells them that if they stay with her for 3 days, she will give them a flint and steel to take with them. After 3 days, the woman gives the couple a flint and steel, tells them goodbye, and disappears. The man and woman head south and eventually find a people who don't have any fire. They share their flint and steel so that the people can make a fire. And from then on, fire is given to the people. Around the world, fire has played a vital role in religious rituals. In many religions, fire purifies and brings light into darkness. For example, the funeral pyres used to cremate the dead in Hinduism are meant to purify the soul of the person who has died. According to tradition, the surviving family members must not allow the fire to go out until the body is completely reduced to ashes. A funeral pyre is often built over a pit. Sometimes the ashes are gathered into a special cloth called a funeral blanket and kept by the family. Other times the ashes are scattered in a sacred river like the Ganges. In Buddhism, a funeral pyre is also used, but Buddhist monks don't use fire to destroy a body. Instead, they expose the body to the elements, letting wind, rain, and sun break it down naturally. Fire is also an important symbol in many creation stories. In the Christian creation story, God creates Adam and Eve and places them in the Garden of Eden, where everything is perfect. However, after Adam and Eve disobey God and eat fruit from the tree of knowledge, they are banished from the garden. One of the punishments God levels against them is that the ground is cursed to produce thorns and thistles. This means that from that point on, humans have to work to grow food instead of it just growing naturally. Some theologians see the curse of thorns and thistles as a metaphor for pain, suffering, and hardship in general. Theologically speaking, fire first appears in Genesis 15:6, when God tells Abram to look up at the stars in the sky and says that his descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky. Theologians believe that this passage foreshadows Christ's sacrifice on the cross, which offers salvation to all people. Today, fire continues to play an important role in human life. For thousands of years, humans have used fire for cooking, religious ceremonies, cremation, and warmth, and we continue to rely on fire today for electricity, heat, and transportation. We still need to use fire safely and responsibly.